September 21st, 2017 to order. Thank you all for joining us this evening. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Ms. Gonzalez?
Here.
Ms. Lee? Here. Mrs. Longmire?
Here.
Mr. Siebert?
Here.
Mrs. Torres?
Here.
Mr. Amos?
Here.
Ms. Major?
Right here. We have 5 present as well as our 2 board scholars and no absences tonight. We're a full board tonight. Fabulous. Members of the public who desire to address the board on any topic related to board work, please sign the roster in the back of the room before 6:15 p.m. I would like to welcome for the Pledge of Allegiance and mission statements. We have 2 students here tonight. We have Connor Lister. Connor, that's you. And Montserrat Camacho Ventura. Is that? Hi, welcome. Come on up and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and our mission statement. Please stand. Sure. Yep. Just speak up.
On the microphone.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to, yeah, you can stand at the podium there and read our mission statement.
Distinguished by individualized opportunities based on scholars' interests, generative learning, global and real-world experiences, exemplary instruction, diverse and unified community.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We also have our district mission statement to graduate college and career-ready students with the knowledge, skills, attitudes, and behaviors to personally succeed and contribute to the common good. So thank you very much. We have certificates for the both of you. Ms. Lee has got certificates for you both, and we usually take a picture. So somebody there to take a picture? Somebody have a phone to take a picture with?
I'll grab my phone.
Christine is not with us tonight. She's our normal photographer. Oh, Carla's got it covered. Thank you, Carla.
We have 2 district statements. Which statement? 2 mission statements now?
They picked the one out of the strategic.
Yeah, and that was my problem. Yeah. And you said district, so that threw me off.
Yep, so that's why I read that one.
But our mission statement is.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you guys very much. So moving on to item number 2, adopt this evening's agenda. Have you all had an opportunity to review tonight's agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Any questions, changes?
No.
I would entertain a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
I move to adopt the agenda as stated.
Second. Moved by Mrs. Longmire, seconded by Mrs. Torres. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. The agenda is adopted. So now we move on to the best part of our evening, showcasing our schools. We have Principal Damon DeFabio from Career Readiness Academy here tonight. We're looking forward to hearing all about CRA and what they've been up to.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here today. Madam President, Dr. Spencer, distinguished board, and scholar board. Thank you for having us here. We can't wait to tell you a little bit about Career Readiness Academy. We're going to start off today with one of our scholars and a poem she's written, and we'll go from there. This is Montserrat Camacho Ventura.
A poem. Very exciting.
Okay, it's called Mind Control. We live in a world of color, but we want to keep it black and white. Likewise, my skin color not right. I wish I wouldn't be part of this ignorant fight, but how could I? My skin color isn't white. My skin color will always be a sight that attracts ignorance full of attacks. They're not even trying to hide their tracks. They took off their silly hats. They expect me to stand for a flag that will never stand for me. Like it sickens me to see that it pleases you when I have fallen on my knees. You expect me to beg to be free, like I'm not paying the same fee, but things have gotten out of control. Like, do I have to sell my soul? I would detest to give birth to an angel just to watch my greatest and priceless creation be sold, but ignorance has taken control.
Wow. For sharing that with us. Wow.
Yeah,
That's intense.
We started with that today. We started with that today because we
No,
wanted
it's working.
it's working
Yeah.
because we wanted to illustrate what a diverse group we have, what a supremely talented group of students we have too. And so we're really proud, and that kind of symbolizes for us a lot of what Career Readiness Academy is all about and the students we have here. So with that, we're going to move into presentation for tonight. We are now the Roaring Ravens. We have.
I like it.
Thanks to our one of our fantastic staff members got a Stuco. We now have a Stuco membership, a team, a student council, and they picked the Ravens. So I don't know if the Ravens and the Stallions can exist in the same school, but we're gonna try.
Oh, man.
But we start off with district mission and district vision, district mission, and we see that district vision is, of course, to become the best school district in America. And you'll see that our mission and vision mirror these. Our school mission and vision mirror these also. Montserrat just read the district mission statement on the district website for us. I really am drawn to the portions of it that talk about personal success, contributing to the greater good, that's individualized, based on scholars' interests, involves real-world experiences, and that's what we're really about at Career Readiness Academy. CRA's vision, this is what you get when you ask your secretary to put pictures on the PowerPoint for you, and you don't know what could pop up after that. But CRA's vision, Career Readiness Academy will be a leader in vocational programs and focus on academic and personal development. We really pride ourselves in both the academic development of students as well as the personal development of students. Our mission statement, which we developed a couple of years ago, really focuses on a restorative culture and a plan of study that focuses on academic and personal development. So when scholars graduate, they're ready, they are college or career ready. That restorative culture is really important for us because a lot of our students come from a traditional setting which they may not have been comfortable with. And so finding some sort of a culture that perhaps is restorative for them, we try to operate as a family and provide that for them. As well, and academic and personal development, every student gets a personal plan and an academic plan, and we work with them one-on-one and really work closely with our students on personal development. We see them take great strides over a number of years. And hopefully, and most times, they are college. We'll see this. So college and career ready. We have college graduates we'll talk about today some too. Just a little bit about our demographics. We're now up to 70 students, and that's just our high school students. Yeah, in the last week, we added another 10. And so we plan to do that next week also. And they're referred from Harrison and Sierra. I'll talk a little bit more about that. We have 41 new scholars this year, 41 this year. And there's a lot of people back in that lab and the other classrooms we have there now. And that's a good thing to see. We're about even as far as our gender, males, females. We don't have any ninth graders. And we really like ninth graders to see if they can give them some time to see if they can be successful in the traditional setting. But we have, as you can see, a lot of 12th graders, many 12th graders this year, and 11th graders. Our ethnic breakdown, you can see our subgroups were real strong on the ELL subgroup. And this year we have 2 gifted students also. And that's a different look for us. And it's a real honor to be serving those students too. Our free and reduced is at 80.3 this year. As I take a look at the 3-year breakdown or 3-year trends for data, well, I'll just go back a little bit to Park. And this was in, and I have to get closer because glasses aren't where they should be. But in 2016, we had 100% net, and that was on the reading for Park. That was 1 student, but it was still 100%. So we highlight that.
You see how he is? You see how he is?
Statistics.
As Dr. Spencer said, if that 1 student hadn't made it, it'd have been 0%. 11th grade science that same year. And as we go through, we know we have areas in the content areas that we need a lot of support. We need to work. Those are growth areas for us. Science, we didn't have any met or exceeded students. As we take a look at ACT, and those are vital statistics we look at closely, ACT and ACT a couple of years ago for the last couple of years, and then SAT the last year. But we were, our composite score, we really grew quite a bit from 2015 to 16, about 2 points there. And that's a real highlight for us, but we're still well below where we need to be as far as state averages and in comparison to Harrison and Sierra also. In the center there again is our breakdown for English, and we grew at least a point in English from 15 to 16 on the ACT. In math, we grew about a point there also, almost, 3 points in reading, in science, about 2 points, and so we're making gains, right, in ACT, but we're not where we need to be yet. And so those content areas are something our unified plan, our unified improvement plan, as well as our problem of practice is really geared toward. As we look at SAT results, on your left is PSAT, on your right is SAT. You can see the state average at the bottom here. The state average at the bottom for PSAT is 947. We're at 817, and so we're at least 100 points behind there, so we have work to do there. And then in the on SAT, we're about 200 points behind the state average, and so we have work to do there. About 100 points in the math and the evidence-based reading and writing are the two areas there that you see, green and the red. Attendance rates, while they have gone up in the last couple of years, over the last 3 years, attendance rates have risen, but they're still not where they need to be as far as when we compare to other AEC schools and on our performance framework and on district goals too. Workforce readiness, when we look at our school performance, we've exceeded and meets in a number of areas in our workforce readiness, and so we're very proud of that. Our completion rate, that's the 5-year rate for graduates, has exceeded, and then our dropout rate has been very low. Our graduation rate this past year was 75%. We thought it was going to be 67, it was 75, and that I attribute to very, very hard work and real close tracking of each individual in that 4-year cohort. So really a tremendous achievement for our staff there. Graduation rate, and you can see the number of graduates number of students we've helped to graduate over the last 4 years, and the graduation rate has gone up too. And so, Mr. Wininger, you can see the students love Mr. Wininger. As I said,
At least you don't have eclipse glasses on.
As I told you, and you could see, the content areas are an area of growth for us. We think that and believe that our problem practice, we've geared that toward reading across all content areas. We need we need to consistently employ research-based reading strategies, and then we believe scholar achievement will grow in English, math, and science across all content areas. And so we need to implement those reading strategies more uniformly and more consistently across all content areas. Our UIP also is geared very specifically towards science and math too, and raising achievement scores there. This is the breakdown of our staff. We have an OMI teacher, and that is Mr. Kirkwood, works in our tech lab to keep everybody on track and open up tests, close tests, tutor one-on-one with students. We have a SPED teacher, our construction teacher. Mr. Wininger is our SPED teacher. Mr. Stuber, our construction teacher. Miss Maloney, our ELL teacher, and she also helps and supports in English language arts. Mathematics, our math teacher, Miss Wolf. Our counselor, Miss Wilmot. We haven't had a counselor for a couple of years. So we're really happy to have a counselor this year. Thank you. Dr. Spencer. We would gladly receive another counselor. So myself, secretary, Our secretary's been with us. Lizette really runs the place. That's what I tell everybody when they come in, and she's been with many years now. Discover Good, we have a number of people who work with us through our COSI grant, our Colorado Opportunity Scholarship Initiative grant, and Miss Sarah Hancock's here, and she's with Discover Goodwill. She works at Discover Goodwill and with us also. And then Sarah Walls is new with us also. She's here as the navigator. She works with us on the COSI grant also as the kind of the go-between Pikes Peak Community College and here at CRA. The opportunities for students this year are construction, cosmetology, aviation, cybersecurity. You can see some of the numbers we have in there, about 41 in construction. So Mr. Stuber's being inundated with new students every day now, and he's handling it beautifully. So cosmetology, we have 9 going to International Salon and Spa up on North Academy. Redstone College, Aviation and Technical College, Redstone, they come out and they supply a teacher, and they help our students work through their AMP, their airframe and power plant certification for a portion of the day also. And so they supply a teacher there. He comes on site. Cybersecurity is Dr. Green works with us from Pikes Peak Community College. And so 9 of our students are taking a college course upstairs at Sierra. They travel there every day for a second and third period, and they're going through a cybersecurity course. We hope to secure some spots with Sierra this coming semester in their culinary instruction, and then in some of the medical fields of a PPCC also at during second semester too. So we were supporting automotive, and we're still in search of the best automotive teacher. We had the best. He left. Now we're going to get another best automotive teacher. We're waiting for the right person. So we're still searching there. Increasing enrollment, we are really working toward that number 80 this year. We'd like to increase enrollment. And I just want to pause for a moment and say how thankful I am. None of this work would really be possible if we didn't have the great partnership we do with Sierra High School and Dr. Griffin and all of his staff, all security, everybody there. They love having us there, as far as I know. Sean, you may know otherwise, but for the most part, they tell us. And Dr. Griffin does everything he can to make all the opportunities for students possible. And Sherry Martinez over at Harrison High School. I was over there just the other day recruiting students, and you would think they could be very possessive and say that student's not leaving, but they say, as well as Dr. Griffin, whatever's best for that student, and if that's what they need, and that will help them. I went to Sherry's office, she said, that will help them, and let's move them over there. And so I appreciate that partnership immensely. The daily support that scholars receive, we really moved in the last year or so to more of a blended approach. And this is something that has kind of evolved, and it's been great for students because sitting in the lab all day, having maybe 2 periods for construction or automotive, and then the rest of the day sitting in the lab working on courses, that's tough. And so this year we have, as we've added math last year, we've added English language arts this year and ELL, we have intervention classes, and we have those classes, we have different classrooms in different areas so students can kind of travel. So a typical schedule, somebody might go to 2 periods of construction, come back to the lab for 2 periods, go out to an intervention class, receive direct instruction, come back to the lab for a couple, maybe go off to their English class, math or English. So that's been really, really helpful for kids, and we think helpful for getting credits accomplished and courses completed also. As we look at just some accomplishments for 15-16, this is a couple years ago, but I'm going to highlight these because I haven't been with you all in a couple years. So we're going back to 15-16. Again, we met our 9th graders 100%, graduation rate at 60%. We've entered over the last couple of years Skills USA competitions, and I never knew what those were when before we started Skills USA competitions, but they're a very popular, well-known across the country. It's a vocational competition is what they are, and different vocational fields, everything from plumbing to to automotive and different career areas. Our students went, like 400 students will show up for an event like this and compete. A couple of years ago, we had top 10 finisher, several top 20 finishers. Construction took first, second, and third. That was 2 years ago. And thank you. Kaiser Permanente, we partnered with them a couple of years ago to host a medical conference for students. If you haven't been out and back of Sierra High School, drive around the back sometime and check out the beautifully landscaped area in the back there. But that was the doing of our staff and helping community come together. Over 70 individuals in one day came together. They did $60,000 worth of materials and landscaping items were donated, and it's a really beautiful area in the back of Sierra High School now. 67% graduation rate. It's actually 75%, so excuse my mistake. And then construction, this is more, these PAC Core IRCs, those are industry recognized certifications. So when our students are leaving construction and going out into the workforce, they have a certificate that says, these are some definite skills that I can do, and they are recognized by the industry. So we had 15 scholars receive and acquire those last year. 4 scholars acquired carpentry IRCs. Again, Skills USA competition last year, we had the first place winner in the electrical field, and he's with us today. Actually, it's Connor. So. He earned a trip to Kentucky because of that first place, and that's where the competition was. So, super exciting. Automotive Scholars had 6 participants and a first place regional winner and 6 state competitors there. And last year, we had 100% of our CRA scholars were accepted to PPCC. So. Just a moment to talk and tell you about our COSI connection, a Colorado Opportunity Scholarship Initiative that really, the partners within that, and that's PPCC, that's Pikes Peak Community College, Discover Goodwill, Pikes Peak Workforce, and us. We all work together to matriculate students onto college and or career. And we had a meeting the other day, and we were just thinking back and recalling, Brianna and Sarah brought it to mind. We have 16 students now presently studying at PPCC, 1 student at one cosmetology graduate, 4 others in studying cosmetology, 1 at CSU, 1 a Pima medical student, and 1 Marine. And that's pretty amazing for students that many people just didn't think were gonna make it out of high school. For our scholar connection today, I have just a couple 1 minute long. We're almost done. Student testimonials. So I'd like Connor just to come up and tell a little bit about his experience at CRA.
You brought a cheerleader.
Is this on?
Sounds like.
Yep. All right. My sophomore year at Harrison, I had over 100 absences. I was on a truancy contract, and I didn't even attempt to go to half of my spring finals. At the beginning of the year, my assistant principal referred me to the Career Readiness Academy. I decided to switch, and I immediately started noticing a change in culture. The student-teacher relationship is incredible at CRA. The students are comfortable going to teachers for advice, and they're getting the help they need. The teachers truly do have a passion to help every student in the rooms. Since I have gotten to CRA, I've thought about a career in construction, brought my attendance up to 100% so far this year, began applying to colleges, gotten 1140 on my SATs last year, and I even won a state championship. But the best part is I found a school that I enjoy being at, and I will graduate on time for the 2018 class.
Nice.
Our next scholar, Ava Lawrence Love. She's now at PPCC.
Hey, Avriel.
Okay, so CRA changed me because I went from being a junior with 13 credits and still just like, oh, okay, I got this. But being in CRA, it made me realize like, oh, wait, I'm gonna be a senior, graduating. I only got 13 credits. And I still went and was like, hey, this is a computer. I can play games, probably fall asleep because these are cubbies. But the teachers, Kirkwood, all of them were like, hey, we need you to get out of here. Like,
Is that what you said?
hello, get it. Really, they were like, we want you to prosper. We want to see you make it. So I was like, all right, they want to see me. I need to see me. So realizing that, I started coming in every day after school, getting on my work. I still barely made it, but I made it. Okay, I graduated with 27 credits. So I was like, so I'm now a hardworking student at PPCC. I stay 2 weeks ahead because I will not fall behind. And I won a $4,000 scholarship.
Hey.
So just to follow up on that, we might say sometimes we need you to get out of here, but it's in love. It's all. What?
Yeah. Like, we love you, but you need to go.
Yeah.
And through the whole thing, I have to say, Averill had an amazing attitude, really great attitude, and just continued working hard. I'll tell you just a little bit. Norma Silva, she had an internship through a scholarship that she earned, and she now has an internship through PPE, Pikes Peak Library District. She traveled to Washington, D.C. this summer, and will be going back to Chicago. And she has a huge project at Sand Creek Library. Rafael Gallegos, a couple of years ago, earned a $15,000 scholarship to Intelitech. So kudos to those students. I want to give them just kind of wrap up. What's next? I'm excited. We have a yearbook this year. We have Stuka this year. We are working with Restorative Justice and continuing our connection circles, conflict circles. We're looking forward to culinary and medical. And Sierra students, again, are in construction classes. That's a great, just a neat thing to see them take advantage of. And then in the community Habitat for, we're continuing again this year to work. Our students go off-site and work with Habitat for Humanity. They work on-site with them a couple days a week. And then through Christine Lyle, we had a contact just recently, a person downtown who owns a property and a business, wants to beautify that area, and she's invited our students to come and work down on 201 North Nevada. So that's going to be exciting for our students to work there too. So that's kind of what's next for us. So thank you all for having us. Any questions?
Fantastic. Great job. Thank you. Damon, does anybody have any questions or comments about CRA's hard work over these last few years?
I have a question that I've been asked, and it's probably a hard question because I have no doubt that the program is effective and it's working for these young scholars, and I'm thankful to have it. What distinguishes you as a school as opposed to a program? That's a question that I've been getting and I cannot answer. So I just...
As a school?
As a school as opposed to a program.
I regard us as a school.
I know that, but I do know that. So do I. But I just could not answer that question, and so that's the hard question. So what could I tell?
Well, I guess I would just say that I would just say that they are a school. They come out, our students come out with the same a diploma that any other student would. They work on the same skills and content areas and standards that they're all aligned to state standards. They might be online, but we have teachers that monitor that also. And in addition to all that, we offer different programs for students. Okay. So, Dr. Spencer, would you like to?
Were you going to say that?
His answer was perfect.
Especially that last part, huh? The last part especially.
With the sport of the yeah.
Never mind. I'm going to let that slide.
No, does
okay.
that help you? Does that help you kind of, Dorena, does that help you kind of communicate with the community that you hear? Does that answer help you kind of be able to translate that to the community?
By the fact that you just said that you offer programs to the students within the school, that kind of helps me. But prior to that, had you not brought that to the forefront, it would seem just like another program because that's what I've been hearing, and that's why I wanted an answer to that question myself.
We're located, of course, within Sierra High School, so it does seem like an
And that's
additional
another,
program.
yeah,
But
that's
it
another.
is it's a different school. That school students are enrolled in CRA, not any other school.
Okay. Is your microphone on? It doesn't sound like it.
Is it on now?
It isn't. It's just you. It wasn't the microphone. It's Damon. He didn't have it close enough to his mouth, but it's okay. Thank you for answering that question for me. I appreciate it.
Any other questions or
I have a
comments?
question.
Yeah, Mrs.
I
Torres.
just wanted to know how long has CRA had the Cozy Connection? I'm very familiar with PPCC's program here in partnership with Discover Goodwill and Pikes Peak Workforce Center, and I very much am a supporter and advocate of this program, especially for young scholars I meet. So I'm curious to know how long has that connection been there?
Well, Sarah probably feels like it's been like 10 years, I'm sure, but I think it's been has it been 3 years? And so we've been working with those partners for that long, and we've gone through a second cycle of the grant also. So.
Oh, nice. And a curious question, and maybe it's for Andre, is the Cozy Connection able to be expanded throughout the district, or is it exclusive to CRA?
Oh, it's exclusive to CRA.
Thank you, Andre.
Dr. Spencer.
He is correct. It is exclusive to CRA. It was a partnership that was developed with Pikes Peak Community College, the Pikes Peak Workforce Development, and Discovery Goodwill to really push for our scholars to transition from CRA into Pikes Peak, finish their degree or their certificate, and then move into the workforce center. But it is exclusive to CRA based off of the grant that we received. It's exclusive to CRA.
Thank you. With these stats, though, I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to work something out.
I have one more question for you, Damon.
Sure.
You said that you are looking for an automotive teacher. What are the qualifications in case somebody in this room or somebody in this community would like to be that person?
That I'd have to look a little closer at all the qualifications. They have to have a CTE license, though, and sometimes that's what they have a lot. If they have experience in the automotive field and extensive experience in the automotive field, that's great. But they also have to have a certified technical education certificate, and that they have to apply for through CDE. And sometimes we see that they have I think it's a secondary CTE license, which doesn't qualify for them to be able to teach at the high school level. And so that's a little different certification, but that would be one of the primary obstacles.
Okay, that's helpful.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people ask that too. You know, how can I become part of that as a teacher or whatever? So thank you.
I just have a couple of comments. My dad happens to be a docent at the World War II Aviation Museum. And I happened to be over there this weekend, and he raved about interacting with students. He had a really good time hosting the students there. Sneakily, he did not confess his relationship to me, to any of you all. I asked him about that, but I did get a firsthand report about how just fantastic the students were and how interested they were in what was going on over there, and just a really good report. So I was happy to hear that. And then I also hear from, in my other life, I interact frequently with personnel from the Housing and Building Association, the HBA, which I know is a big supporter of the CRA. And I don't know if any of you all saw, there was an article, one of the conversations that we have frequently about economic development in the city of Colorado Springs is workforce issues. And there are, if you listen to the presentations, there are currently 12,000 some odd job openings in Colorado Springs and only 8,000 people who are looking for jobs. And many of those jobs are in the construction field. So I really do believe that it is, that there is a tremendous capacity in the workforce to absorb any and all students who are interested in this course of study, in the future, and there is a tremendous capacity for the HBA to continue to support you. They frequently ask me, what else can we do? And I said, ask Damon, I'm sure he'll let you know.
And we frequently let them know, and they
Yes.
come through in just a day or
And
two.
they're fielding challenges from their membership, which are home builders and companies in the construction trades, where the limitation on how they can grow their businesses is the workforce that they can attract. And so in addition to being trained in the trades, these students emerge from CRA with the ability to be top-notch workers for the rest of their careers because of the skills that they've gained there, which is what high school is all about. So I really appreciate that you're filling a really important role, not only for the students here, we've heard testimonials, but also for our community at large. So that's what I wanted to say.
Can I have one more quick comment? Because I know one of the scholars, Avriel, I know you, right? Just based on past history with her and tutoring and that type of thing, her and her sister. So I'm proud of you for finishing and for making up your mind to do better in your life. I'm happy to see that happening. I'm thankful that this was a vehicle for that for you. So you keep it up. Okay.
Thank you very much for your presentation tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank
we look
you, and
forward
thank
to
you for your
more good
support.
things to come when you're back before us in a couple of years.
Thank you again.
All right, so we're moving on. Oh, look at us, right on time. Moving on to item. Hold on.
No, I was trying
Oh,
to get
okay.
Norman's attention.
Oh.
Can we get pictures of our scholars?
Oh,
and
okay,
their
that's
levels?
right. We need to get pictures of the scholars, the CRA scholars.
Yep. and
Oh,
their
the two of
levels.
you and your.
The letters that you wrote.
Yep. Norma wants to take some pictures over here. So Norma right there. There you go. Come on.
Right
come on,
here.
come
It doesn't
on.
matter. We're just going to.
There you go. No. Stay in here. Stay. Yeah, there you go. I was looking for Jeanette, but she is here. Oh, got it. Okay. That's fine. Yeah, I know. That's fine. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So we're moving on to communicating with the public. We have the Youth Transformation Center here to talk. We have Jeanette. Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
Thank you.
So if you want to come over here and make your presentation at the, do we have a clicker or something for? Yeah, there we go. Just keeps us from having to crane our necks around there to see you over there.
I was
So
planning to do that.
welcome.
Oh, good. This is for short people too. Good.
There you go.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair, Dr. Spencer, board members, and board scholars. Congratulations. We're so proud of you. So, yes, this is one of my favorite subjects. You might think that I was going to say restorative justice, which that's one of them, but it's your students. Your students are exceptional. We have had so much fun with these young people. And I just have to tell you, I am so proud of what they have accomplished already this year. Now, we did get to work with them last semester, 6 of your schools last semester. This year, we're working with 7 schools. So pretty exciting stuff. And I've got a little quick slideshow here just to give you some idea of what's happening. So let's see. Any of you recognize any of these students? Damon? I love this picture because it gives me the opportunity to tell you that these students from CRA called this circle themselves. They were not happy with the way some of their peers were acting at CRA. They weren't doing their work. They were having some issues with personalities, but also they really weren't doing their work. And so you'll see the student with his hand on his elbow is the one who said, we need to get together with those students who aren't producing. And so we got into this circle, and I want to tell you the results were extraordinary. And I can't say enough about the student who's willing to step up and get his peers to be accountable. That's really what restorative justice is about. Restorative justice is a very fair way to deal with discipline issues, and those are a whole variety, not just discipline issues, but attendance, making sure that they stay on task with their grades and all of that. So when a student calls it rather than a teacher, I think that's pretty special. So these are these are photos of some of our trainings. You might recognize somebody there too. And so we have a lot of fun in those trainings. And this one happened to be at Sierra High School. You can see we're having a lot of fun right there. And so this is a bigger picture of it. So that's what a circle looks like. So that's what the training looks like. We do all our events are in circle because it gets them used to being in that circle to have a dialogue, right? You know, right? Thank you for being here. So we have two types of circles. This is our team, and they're really a dynamic team. We're adding 3 more people to the team this year. Those 3 people will primarily be in Pueblo. We're going to have 4 schools in Pueblo. But this is our team that mostly works here in Harrison. We have 3 models that we really train the schools on. The first one is specifically for prevention. They're called classroom connection circles. And they're an opportunity to really build relationships inside of that school so that kids don't act out. They don't want to harm one another. That's the philosophy behind that. So we ask lots of fun questions in those circles. One person asks the question, we use a talking instrument, and everybody gets to answer that question. So for example, it might be, if you had a robot, what would you have that robot do for you? Well, we get some really interesting, really interesting answers for that. Most of the female teachers say, clean my house. But the kids are really very, very inventive. You can well imagine. I want to keep going, but I could really go through some very interesting answers for you. The second model is for intervention, as is the third model. So the second model was 40 years ago called Victim Offender Dialogue. And that's because it came out of the juvenile justice system. And so we don't like to use those labels. We like to say the person that caused harm, the person that was harmed. And it brings those individuals together in a safe, respectful circle to talk it out, basically. We talk about what happened, who this affected, and what can be done to repair the harm. So rather than kick a kid out of school, we say, no, let's have that young person take responsibility for his or her behaviors, sit in front of that individual or individuals that they've harmed, and hear how their behaviors have affected others. And lots of times kids don't know that. I mean, they're still learning about that, how their behaviors, how their actions affect the world around them, including, and we like to expand that, not just the people who were directly harmed, but the people in their lives, their friends, their teachers, their family members. And so it's really, really important to get these young people to take that responsibility so that they can make better choices in the future. It is not soft on crime, as a lot of people have said. It's very hard to do that. It's very hard to own up to something that you did that harmed another individual. And it's very, very hard to face that person and hear, sorry, I'm having some problems with the air quality. Another fire, just what we needed. Anyway, yeah, so this is a really difficult thing for them to do. And when they step up to it, you know they have a lot of courage. And very, very rare does a young person not agree to do that. So we have to be proud of them for that too. Now, the third model is an expansion of that. In other words, it isn't just those 3 universally accepted questions that we ask. We expand that dialogue to include lots of other conversations, if you will, where we get to know the student a little better. We talk about what do you do well, what are you proud of, so that they know that we're there to support them. We're not there to discipline them in a punitive way. We really are there to support them, to get them to understand that they have a whole support team here at the school. And it's their job to not just appreciate that, but step up to the plate and take advantage of that. So if a student is not doing well in school, if they're not attending school, we want to know what are the resources that they need. What's going on at home? Are you having a trouble getting to school on time? Is something happening with your transportation? What exactly is going on that we can support you with? Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you. So from January to June, this last semester, as I mentioned, we were working with 6 of your schools. We had 98 discipline cases to work with. You can see about an even mix of males and female students. And the majority of those referrals were in lieu of suspension and expulsion. So we know that Dr. Spencer has set the bar pretty high for reducing suspensions and expulsions, which can lead to fewer kids dropping out of school because they get behind, and can also lead to better graduation rates. So we know that we're looking for a 90% graduation rate. So this really can feed into that. Excuse me just a second. Now, you remember that first model I mentioned to you is the classroom connection circles. We held 38 of those last year, and that included 760 students. So we're reaching a lot of young people. So we're really excited about that, because once we get them used to the circle process itself, they're less afraid to come into the circle if there's a discipline issue. Restorative justice intervention circles can take, people ask me this a lot, about an hour. It could also take several days. So we might have to go back the next week. It could be several weeks before they really resolve their issues. And so that's what our team is for. Now, last semester I put out a survey at the end of the year and asked some of your teachers, your restorative justice leaders, both adults and students, what they thought was accomplished during that semester. And you can kind of see the results there. You can see that the most, and this is true, I want to say globally, most of the issues we see in school are interpersonal conflicts. He said, she said, you know, she hurt my feelings, name calling, gossip, that sort of thing. And so it's very rare that we see something that's really, really serious. But we did have a couple of cases where there was some sexting going on, sexual innuendos, that sort of thing on social media. But what a great opportunity to work with the kids and really help them to understand how serious that could have been if they were 18 or if they went a little too far with something like that. So we see all of these as just golden opportunities to really help the kids. Now you can also see that the type of agreement that these young people made, in the green you can see that they did a full restorative justice conference model. So that meant they had a written agreement. They really had to come to terms with how their behaviors affected everybody and make amends. And these got followed through on after 30 days, sometimes 60 days, depending on the difficulty of the response or the consequences. Sometimes it takes about 60 days for them to complete. And you can see too in the red portion that a lot of kids just shook hands. They were good. So, but having that conversation was really valuable to them. And in the blue section, you can see that in some cases, we only went to the pre-con, which means for the most part, they had already resolved things. This was just a formal, okay, how are you feeling now? Do you feel safe? Do you feel, good about this? Are you satisfied? And so most of them said yes. Okay, and then you can see in to a moderate extent to that first question, to what extent is RJ having a positive effect on your school? So we were very, very pleased with that. Remember that most of the first 2 months, January and February, we were doing a great deal of training, and then we went into the actual restorative justice conferences. And so to get that kind of a response in the first semester, I think it's very, very positive. And then the second question, to what extent has RJ had a positive effect, specifically on those students referred for discipline action? Again, very, very positive response. We also train both the adult and the student teams in implementation science. And implementation science essentially says that it takes 3 to 5 years for a new practice to become embedded and sustainable. So training isn't enough. Training just is kind of a hit and run, and it's historically not successful when you do that. So I just want to personally thank Dr. Spencer for believing in us so much that he was willing to help these young people, student leaders, as well as the adults, to have us as mentors for an entire year. First the semester and now another entire year, because that's what it really, really takes. People get, as we know, into these habits, and they fall back on what we've always done. And to learn a new process and to get your system in place so that everybody is being effective, everybody is stepping up the way they need to, playing the role that they need to, it takes coaching. And so we have an amazing team of coaches who are very, very experienced, and I'm sure you know that every case is unique. And so to be able to get in there and meet with them weekly and demonstrate how we do it from our experience, and then slowly get them integrated into those leadership roles themselves, I think they've been very, very pleased. So you may know that we're shooting for an EARS grant next year. We're really excited about that. I'll be working with Mr. Russell on it and helping him put that application together. We expect it to come out, the RFP, in January, and we'll submit the application in March, and we hope that it will be awarded to Harrison. I think we have a really, really good shot at it. And that could take us potentially through the next 4 years, unless they decide to do a single year at a time.
Can you tell me what EARS stands for again?
Expelled and At-Risk Student Services. Thank you. So we visit each of the schools once a week. So you can see on Mondays, we visit Fox Meadow, Tuesdays, Harrison High School, Wednesdays, Sierra High School and Mountain Vista and CRA. And Thursdays, we work with Carmel and Panorama. So being today is Thursday, I wanted to tell you that my husband and I, Andre over there, got to work with a group of girls, the he said, she said, and it was so fabulous. And they did such a great job. I know Lorna's here, and I want Lorna to know, because she may not have gotten the word yet, but I was so proud, weren't you, Andre, of these two girls, and they had a common boyfriend. And you can well imagine what we heard. But they handled it beautifully. Now next
And probably what he heard after school.
For sure. But anyway, you could really be proud of your students. They're really learning to become great young adults. Some of you may know who this is, State Representative Pete Lee, and he helped to carry most of the restorative justice bills through the House of Representatives. And this particular one, I think, is especially important, House Bill 1032, because it does talk specifically about schools and the types of cases that we want to be sure that we see coming through those referrals. So I'll leave this, of course, slideshow so you can look at it anytime you want. Okay, so we have some really big goals, and you see that I left you my book, and I'm really excited to say it's selling around the world because they have kids all around the world. and I understand that New York City Department of Education has purchased 1,200 copies for their trainings, and so we got to keep up with them. And so you can see some of these goals. We want to make sure that we have strong adult and student leader groups, and we do. I want you to know we do. And I'm very, very proud of them. We're doing the weekly classroom connection circles and want to be in at least 50 to 75% of all your classrooms by the end of this year. And then, and I don't see why we can't do that. And then students are handling conflicts on their own like adults. And of course that we're reducing discipline referrals. And we can do that. And most importantly, I want to be sure your teachers are taken care of, because it's an expense, a huge expense when you have turnover of your teachers. And when they're not having to deal so much with discipline, I think it's going to be a great benefit to them. You can see that we also have many, many other benefits that come out of using restorative practices, not just the numbers, but really great communication skills, leadership skills, that sort of thing. And we're starting to really see that. And we want to catch them as early as possible. You can see that graph explains that pretty well. It's pretty straightforward. Let's catch them in the early years and in the less serious discipline issues, so that they really learn from that. And that's pretty much it. This is a film I wanted to be able to show you, but I know you've got many, many other things on your agenda.
We have this slideshow in our agenda packets, and so
Yes,
we have
we
it
do.
available to us afterwards. So
Yes.
I will go home and take a
Great.
look at it.
Great.
So
Thank you. Any
thank you so
questions?
much, and thank you for this.
Yes, absolutely.
I'll stop before I ask for any questions. I remember having a conversation many, many years ago, and I won't say how many, with Representative Lee before he was Representative Lee, about his passion for restorative
Yes.
justice. But before it had really gotten the kind of legs here locally that
Yes.
it has. And I'm just so gratified to see it. You know, I didn't imagine myself on the school board when we had that initial conversation. He probably didn't imagine. Oh, well, he probably did imagine himself in the State House. And he was so passionate, as were so many other people. And I now am beginning to hear reports from all over the community about what a positive impact that it's having on our students and on the community in general. And so I'm a super strong supporter, and thank you so much for all of the stuff that you've done in our district and throughout our community. So thank you very much. Are there any other questions or comments for Jeanette? Or Andre, although he's been sitting back there very quietly. He's very expressive, though, so you can kind of
He's gesturing
see
with
that
his
he's,
hands.
You know,
and
yes,
his
exactly.
face.
Any other questions or comments?
I have a comment. Hi.
Yes, hi.
So I truly do appreciate what you're doing. So thank you so much for that. And because I'm here now in this bigger world of this, I'm still in high school, and in my little world when I'm in school doing connection circles, myself and the peers around me don't understand what it's for. We just think that we're wasting an hour of class time on advisory schedule because we need to talk. And
Right.
so when you're implementing this and when it's being put into curriculum, please explain to your students why this is important, because we are wired to understand why. Why is this happening?
Yes.
And so, one, we will take it so much more seriously, and two, we will connect so much better if we understand why we're doing this and it has a point to it.
Yes, thank you. We'll make sure we do that. Yes.
I just wanted to say thank you also, like Naija said. And also, I don't know if everyone in here is a teacher or not, but after we did, it was my first circle being the representative for juniors. And immediately, actually later that day, both of the people that were in the circle, I saw them in the hallway having regular conversation. That one of the guys, I can't remember his name, but this year he's a completely new student. Like, I see him in class all the time. He's never just sitting in the counseling center. And I just wanted to say, like, I don't know, I know you guys see it, but I just want you to know even more that everything you're doing actually is working, and it's working very well and very quickly.
I really appreciate that, especially coming from you, Roland. You were an extraordinary leader and still are. And I can see you're really going to do great things. And I hope you take this whole concept to college with you. Okay, Naisha, thank you so much.
I have a question based
Yes.
on Nyaja's comments.
Mhm.
Do all students have to participate? Is that what goes
No.
on, or is it just particular situations that call for the circles?
You mean the classroom connection circles?
Yes.
Yeah. When we go into the classroom, we always let the students know that they can pass if they wish to. So
Okay.
yes, it is voluntary. But what we find is even the shy ones, at some point when they see how much fun everybody else is having, they absolutely want to participate.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's no pressure.
Okay, I was just curious. Okay, thank you.
In fact, I hope that some of you will come and visit some of those circles sometime. I have a whole calendar that I can send to you, send to Norma, and please just let me know if you want to join us and actually see it in real life, because it's pretty inspiring.
Well, thank you very much. We appreciate the presentation and we look forward to a continued fruitful partnership.
Thank you so much.
On to item 5.1. I hear we have some news and a request from Sand Creek Elementary School. Do we have a presentation, or do we just want to just some background? Maybe
We just
Principal
call you
Alford
up
would
out of your chair, right?
up and say we did not have an opportunity to talk about this item in our work session. Our normal process is to bring an item that we're going to be voting in our work session. And so when the agenda came out, it was the first time that we'd seen this request. So just whatever background that you've got on the request to change your school's name.
Right after Ms. Gandhi asked, do I have to speak? And I said, no, I don't have to speak. So the background here is when we started our feasibility study 3 years ago, we did some research on every IB school in the state and started to notice that every IB school in the state, with the exception of a few, have a name that represents that they are an international baccalaureate school. And it usually adds either international or world to their school name. So when our authorization team came in May, we did ask for their input and asked, is this something that typically schools do? And they said yes. And so they gave us two kind of recommendations on the name. So either Sand Creek World School or Sand Creek International School. And then we turned that to our school community to get their input before we brought it to you, because I had no idea what you do to change a school name. So I learned that I bring it to you. And then after that, we would also then have to take your approval to the state, and they would approve it before it officially becomes changed. So we are hoping to become Sand Creek International, and that will just be another opportunity with our school community to just highlight this change. We're constantly trying to help parents understand what it means. They've seen the sign. We had an IB parent group meeting yesterday. And honestly, the sign is what brought them in, because they said, I saw the sign, so I'm just wondering, what does it mean? So we're now finally having some in-depth conversations about the change in curriculum. So we would love to do some ribbon cutting ceremony partway through the year with our parents, just to highlight again, kind of the deeper meaning behind what is transformed at Sand Creek.
Thank you so much. See, that wasn't so hard.
No, not at all.
Superintendent Spencer, are there any other elements of this conversation that you want to bring up, or any reservations or anything that we need to kind of take into consideration?
No, I do not. Rachel did a great job
Good.
with the explanation.
Are there any comments or questions from the board? Mrs. Torres.
Yes, because she mentioned Sand Creek International Elementary School, but on our option here, baccalaureate, does it matter at all if that's in there or not?
So what the consultant said, most people do not work in the actual IB into the school name. So the international is just kind of highlighting the change in the school. So the way that it would be posted is it would read Sand Creek International Elementary School, and then underneath it would say an IB World School, but that actually wouldn't be part of the name. So the name change is just simply inserting international into the actual school name.
Thank you, that makes sense.
Well, I want to thank you for the shirts that you provided for the board. They were really nice, and so we get to wear those around and show off your new school. And I guess when you get new shirts with the new name.
We tried to do it unofficially and put the school name on our new handbook and shirt, but we figured we had to wait until it was official.
Yeah, might not be a bad idea. That is one of the only things that the that our policy specifically reserves to the board. So, and it is an honor to do it because we are so proud of the progress that you all have made and the hard, super hard work that you guys have been doing over there at Sand Creek. I've been over a couple of times. As a matter of fact, I was there with a couple of classrooms of third graders on their unit about local government recently and got some fantastic questions. They were a very engaged bunch of third graders. So I appreciated being there, and it just showcased how much hard work that you're doing. Did you have another question? Nope. I thought you had your. Okay. Anything else? Okay. To that end, I would entertain a motion on this matter.
I move to approve the changing of Sand Creek Elementary School to Sand Creek International Elementary School.
A second.
Moved by Mrs. Torres, seconded by Mrs. Longmire. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously. Congratulations. Okay, so moving on to communicating with the board, we have item 6.1. And these are informational items, correct? These do not require a vote because these are our AP and concurrent enrollment reports. So this is just communicating to the board that we received AP results reports on our AP and concurrent enrollment. At our last work session meeting and had an extensive discussion, and we will be looking towards the new year, having some conversations about rolling those results reports into our R1 policies, and that's kind of a process. So we appreciate all the information that we received and all of the progress that we've been making on those two fronts. So are there any comments from the board or questions? There's no vote necessary. So moving on to item 6.2, reports from our Scholar Board representatives. I will hand it off to Naija to lead us off. Do you have anything that you want to communicate to the community?
Well, of course.
Of course.
Of course. Love to tell people things. Hi, everyone. Just first and foremost, I'm super excited that the tryouts for our first school play are coming up. They're tomorrow. And so when that's put together, I'm hoping some of our board members will come watch this play. I wouldn't say that too loudly.
What's the name of the play?
What's the play? Yeah.
Why Bump Barnaby?
Oh, I already like that. Yeah.
Barnaby, I've never heard of it.
Excellent. It's a comedy murder mystery.
Excellent.
Yes.
We'll be there.
Yes, so I'm super excited about that. And that was our first and foremost. Lots of athletic things happening. We have our softball, and they just took their first win, or maybe their second win. It's like 2-14. They haven't had a great season, but they won. We have our football, and they're starting, and we have our.
Wait, back up 1 second. Didn't they just win against Mitchell?
Yeah.
Okay, you got to say that. You can't just be.
I can't be skipping over football. Yes.
Right.
Football also just had a game, not a match. Not talking about soccer. And they won against Mitchell. And so I'm so very proud of that because we lose a lot there too. But our sports teams are doing super well, and I'm super excited for that to continue. We have a Spirit Week coming up. Homecoming is the 30th. So we have a Spirit Week leading up to it. We have College Day and like Pink Day and lots of different things just coming up, and I haven't memorized it like I usually do because I go all out there. Spirit Days are my favorite thing. But we are also starting SAT and PSAT prep. Mr. Forker, he is the AP psychology teacher. He has just put it into full gear, getting SAT prep ready for the juniors, and I'm super excited about it because nothing better than stressful tests that determine your life. Yeah.
But Mr. Forker is a great teacher.
He's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I think that's all I have for you. Just little world stuff. I'm excited.
Are you going to be in that play?
I'm going to try
You're trying
out for
out?
it. I'm going to try.
Good deal.
My hardest.
Good.
Well, thank you, Naija. Roland, do you have an update about what's going on?
So I just got a new job. So I'll be making $11 an hour now, which is gonna be great because I want a car. I currently have 114% in my marketing class, which is pretty great. I wish I could give some of that to math.
That's awesome.
Sadly, I can't. I just wanted to say that our math classes are starting to get very stressful. And it's not so much that the content is hard. It's more that I know as a doctor, I won't be graphing any parabolas or anything like that. It's kind of the only thing that's frustrating. I wish we could take a class that was structured more towards finance or something like that, something that we would see how to change a flat tire or something. So I want to start a program where we just after school, hopefully during school, I feel like that would be better, of like home ec, but everything, like all things. That I feel like that would be really cool. We have our tailgate actually tomorrow, so you guys should come. It would be great. We have a lot of booths, a bunch of booths, and it would just be great to see you all there. Someone should get pied in the face. Hopefully, I'm putting Dr. Spencer on the spot here, but I'm really hoping to at least see
I'm not
him.
doing it either. Sorry.
No.
Come, but you won't see me.
not good.
I just feel like, our freshman
Love you, Roland, but
SGA
we're not.
our freshman SGA is sponsoring it, and they'd love to see anybody come and get pied in the face.
I think maybe seeing their elementary or middle school principals there would probably
that
be
would
really
be great.
compelling.
So
I think
hey,
maybe
guys,
that would be a good
definitely show
solution.
up. And even if you don't come to get pied in the face, it would be nice to see you guys there. And I think that was it. I have a few questions, but that's more for after school. I mean, after this,
After school.
for Miss Martinez, so I can harass her about like 18 new programs. But that's it.
Well, thank you. We're always interested in hearing. I know in hearing what's going on in the high schools. I know the beginning of the semester, the beginning of the school year is very busy and very exciting. So thank you very much. And on another note relating to our Board Scholar program, we received a check-in from one of our Board Scholars from last year. We received a really sweet email from Violet Flores, who many of you remember from last year. She is not only adjusting to life in Fort Collins at CSU, Fort Collins, she is thriving and is basically running the place now, I'm just saying. And already looking down the road towards summer internships and things like that. So just really, really gratified to have been able to build a relationship with a student over the time on her board, over her time on the board. And just really, really proud of what all of our students are doing out there in the world. I would like to get many, many more emails like that from students about talking about
that is nice.
What they're
yeah.
up to. It was fabulous.
Yeah, she's already working there at Fort Collins on campus and everything. And so, yeah, making new connections with the people there and stuff. She said she went scared, but now she's connected with some more scholars up there. And so she's doing a whole lot better and just, adjusting nicely. So we expect the same from both of you, of course, that regardless of where you go.
Yep. Well, thank you very much for those reports. Moving on to public comment. We don't have anybody signed up for public comment. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to comment? No? Okay, moving on. In your packets, board members, you have our annual work plan. Does everybody have an opportunity to review?
Yes.
Any comments or questions about what's upcoming? Hold on, I made a couple of notes.
State of the schools.
Mrs. Torres.
For October, State of the Schools.
Yes, on October, what's the date?
October 10th.
October
Or
10th.
State of the district, excuse me.
Yeah, we're calling it State of the Schools this year.
State of the
So
School- okay, then, yeah.
October 10th, Tuesday, October 10th at 11:30, essentially at lunchtime. We'll be holding our State of the Schools luncheon, which is a fundraiser for, what are the
Matching
proceeds going to?
scholarship.
Matching scholarships again this year, where we'll hear from the superintendent about the state of our schools and invite a number of community leaders to have lunch with us and hear all about the fantastic work that Harrison is doing. And it's an opportunity to really showcase to the community in general. I mean, we are a little bit of an echo chamber in here. We talk to each other about how awesome we're doing. But this is really an opportunity to put it out in the community and underline all of the fantastic things that are going on in Harrison. So I'm looking forward to that.
That is, I just want to say that's at Cheyenne Mountain Resort, correct? Okay.
And then on Thursday, October the 5th, this is not on the annual work plan, but it is an upcoming event. A number of us will be heading up to Great Education Colorado for luncheon to recognize a number of award winners. Potentially, we have our local teacher of the year, Christina Randall, who is up for recognition at that luncheon. So we're keeping our fingers crossed and looking forward to that opportunity to recognize her. And then I think that's all we have coming up. Are there any other comments or questions? No? Okay. Moving on, we have the superintendent's consent agenda. On the consent agenda, we have the September personnel report, the July financial statement. So if you all have had an opportunity to review that, I would entertain a motion to approve the superintendent consent agenda items.
I move to approve the superintendent agenda items.
Moved by Mrs. Longmire, seconded by, I think I heard Mrs. Lee.
I thought so.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And then moving on to the board consent agenda, which is very crowded. It's got a number of minutes from June, July, and August. And monitoring reports OE6 and OE10 and OE13 that we spent some significant time at our last work session reviewing. So I would entertain a motion to approve the board consent agenda.
I move to approve the board consent agenda items as stated.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Longmire, seconded by Mrs. Lee. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. There being no further agenda items, we are adjourned. Boom.